Okay, so in this video, I want to do the practical. This is the practical section of the front end stack, the types of technology stack. We talked about the front end stack. So, and I've done the theoreticals, and I said I'll be dividing the training into two, the theoretical section and the practical section. I've done the theoretical section and I've uploaded the video which you might have watched. If you've not watched the video, you can always check out my YouTube channel to watch the video. So in this particular video, I'm going to be doing the practical section of that particular series. So without wasting much time, let's go into let's kick off the party. So let's go to file. I want to open, let me see if I can create a folder. I just need to create a folder. So what I do is I come to front end, I name my project. What do I need to, let's say front end demo. I call it front end demo. Oh, it's not there. Okay, it's not there. Okay, what I want to do is to create the file. Let me create the file. I create the file. Once I create the file, I select the file. I think that is the way to go. So it will open the folder on my Visual Studio. Yeah, it has opened the folder here. So what I want to do now is to okay, I think that is the folder. So what I want to do now is to show you the design that I want to implement. So this is the design I intend to implement using HTML and CSS and JavaScript. So this is basically the design I want to implement, So what I want to do with this design is a basic design. I just want to use this to demonstrate how HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work. It's not really complicated. It's just a simple page. So this is the design. What I want to do is to show you how to lay out the blocks in horizontal layout and vertical layout, and how to style the. As you can see, this button has a gray color and this has a blue color, and this guy has a yellow color. So what I want to do with this simple tutorial, once you click a blue button, it changes the colors of all these blocks to blue. If you click the yellow button, it changes the color of just the simple stuff, nothing too complicated. So this is the design I will be implemented in my front end. So how it works is that the designer will design this and then hand it over to you as a front end developer to develop. So that's the way it works in the industry. Sometimes you will be the one to do the design and the coding. Like in this case, I did the design and the coding. So, but in most organization, most projects you'll be working on, you will only be working on one part of the project, maybe only front end, and the designer will be doing the design. So that is all for the intro. So let's go over to our demo. So like I said, if you are doing this type of work, it's always good to obey the concept of separation of concern. So we are going to separate our concern, which means that our HTML page will be in separate HTML file and our CSS file will be on its separate file. The same thing with JavaScript. So for a large project, you might have so many HTML pages. So it becomes very useful if you put all your HTML pages in one folder. So let's assume that this is a complex project and I need to add new folder, and let me name the folder HTML, and then I will have add another folder called CSS, add another folder called JS. So it's just a simple project, nothing really too complicated. So these are my stuff. So within the HTML folder, I will add my HTML. I will add my HTML file. I need to, okay, sorry, I need to delete this. I will add my HTML file. Let me see if I can add new item. Let me see if I can. But that is the HTML page. So that is basically part of the reason why I like using HTML, using Visual Studio. It allows me to create my project. New item, new. I think there is this open. There is this particular. Okay, let's just use this. Let's just go with it. Let's see what it's gonna do for us. So I can now change the name of that page. I want the name of my HTML page to be front and demo. So this is the name of my HTML page, front end demo. So yeah, let me just use, I don't want to use camera case. Let's use normal. So this is our front end. So let's add another, let's add this. We've added, what I've just done now is to add my HTML page. This is the basic structure of an HTML page. This is the basic structure of your HTML page. You have your doc type. This is a meta tag. So you have your HTML tag. Then within your HTML tag, you have your header and your body. Within your header, you have your meta tag and your title. So the meta tag holds information about this particular HTML page. So I could say my title is let's say front end practical demo. So let's call these our. So let me quickly add the CSS file and the JavaScript file. So I go to this, then this is my CSS file I'm adding. I will call this front end demo as well. Then you notice the extension, the last character after the dot is the extension. Like I said in my training, the extension has for the CSS is .css. The extension for HTML is .html. So let me add the file for JavaScript. This is JS file. So I quickly add my JS file and I call it front end demo.js. So yeah, so these are the three files I'm adding. Yeah, so I think that is all for all these files. So what I want to now do is, okay, how do I structure my, the question now becomes, how do I structure my code to achieve this? Because this is what I want to achieve. I want to get my code in this format. So how do I structure and get that? So the strategy I want to do is I'm going to use, to get all these layouts, I'm going to use, what I want to do is, like, this should be a block, then this should be a block, then this should be a block, and then this should be a block, and then these three guys should fall within it. So I have like 1 2 3 4 5 blocks. Yeah, so but to be able to, so I think that is so I have 5 blocks, and I might need to, I have these 5 blocks, but these 5 blocks are inside another block. You can see this line. So these 5 blocks are inside another block. So, and this block is, as you can see properly, this block is centered within these, is centered. So what I want to do is, there is a concept in CSS called flex layout, FLEX. Like, so that's what I want to do. And for me to be able to use that flex layout, I need to structure my code in such a way as to make proper use of that flex layout. So let's get started. So I have my, so like I said, I have like I said, I have these 5 blocks inside another block. Then, but this block, this particular block, I don't know if I can get, if I can easily get something to mark on this, that would be fine. But let's just continue. So I have 5 blocks that are inside a main block, and this main block is centered. So that's what is centered in the page. So that's what I want to achieve. To achieve that, I need to lay out my code in a certain way, and that is what I want to do now. If you this is the development environment, and the development, I have a video on how to install this development environment. I will add the link to that video when I'm editing this, so that you can download and install this particular. It's free of charge. Everything in software development is almost free, so nobody can complain. The only complaint you can make is maybe if you're in Nigeria, you don't have internet or electricity. But everything you need to learn software is free. This thing is, the development environment is free, and there is a video. I will add the link to the video when I'm editing this one. So to achieve that layout, I will add this guy. This will be my first layout. Let me move this. Then I will have to add another block. So this will be that block that has the border on it. So then within this block, I need to add my individual blocks I've counted. So I have something of this nature. This is where my title will be. Then I need to get another. This is where this particular block is where those 2 horizontal columns will be. And then I will need to add the column for the 2 other column below this. They will have their own, and then I will need to add the block for the button. So this is what I've achieved so far. This is the way I like doing it. So this is where my title will be. This particular block is where the 2 vertical, that is these 2 guys here. These 2 guys here. Let me see if I can let me see if I can reduce this a bit and show you. You can see. So this particular is going off. This particular column, this particular div, like I say, div. I said in my tutorial, div allows you to arrange your items in vertical column. So this particular first div, this I want to use this to allow me center this thing, this particular item. Then this div here, the second div is for this bordered line. Then within this bordered line, we have another div, the first div within this bordered line. Like you can see, we have 5 divs. These 5 divs represent these 5 columns that I've identified. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first one is for this title. The second one will hold these two blocks. Then the third one is for this. The fourth one is for this. Then the fifth one will house all these buttons. So that's the way I have structured this stuff. So let's come over here. Within this, within this place, I need to put my title. I need to put this title, but I don't just want to put, I need to put this title we have here. This is the title. I can put it here directly, but I want to, like I said, I want to put it within my title element, and my title element could be H1, H2, or H3. So let's put it within H1. So I'm call this is my title. So this let's use sentence case. I just want to run through this tutorial. I don't want it to get too much. So yeah, so and we can save this. So this is how it looks like. Let me see if I can go to File Explorer. So this is my File Explorer. This is that HTML demo. Let me see if I can open it with So this is what we have in this is what we have in our this is what we have in the browser. This is what is showing now. So let's get this. Let's get back to our code. So what I will do is that I will be combining. Let me see if I can with so that we see how the whole thing is shaping up. So this is it here now. So for this second one, for this second div block, div block, I have let's see, I have these two blocks as well that I need to. So for these two guys, I need to add another div. These two divs. Yeah. Yeah, so these two divs represent the blocks. That is these two blocks. I think that is all. Then what about the buttons? The buttons should be here. So I just add here I have my input. Let's see, do I have input? Yeah, I have input that is called, you see this input that is called button. So all I need to do is just get this guy here, and I need 3 of them. So yeah, let's save and see how it's shaping up. You know, that's the good thing about software development. I like software development because it gives you instant gratification, you know, in a good way, you know, instant gratification in a good way, because that is one thing that's part of the main reason why I just love software development, because you are working, you are seeing your results straight away. This one, there's nothing like, you know, no, yes, you are working, you are seeing the results. If it is not working properly, you can go back and correct it. Then you can see I have my title, I have button, the 3 buttons, so it's shaping up properly. I have my 3 buttons. So what we can do is okay, I think it's shaping up properly. So what I usually do for my project is I try to do all my project, include all the styles here. Then later on, I move all the styles to the style page. I think that is the approach that I feel works very well for me, because I don't have to bother too much. So let's move straight to styling. So the first style I want to apply is to the body. So I will add my style properties of this button. And then what I want to add is the background color. I want to add the background color, so I select the background color, and what I want to add is hash F1 F2. Let me put this hash as well. So this is the background color I want for my background, you know, and then I want this background to have a width of 100%. Yeah, so I think that is basically what I want. So I have a background. The background is your part of your basic, your body, or sorry, your body is part of the, you know, your HTML page has a background, a header, and what, a body. The body is the body is like this main area. The body is like all these areas you see. All these areas you see within your browser. That's what your body represents, and all your HTML element will be within this body. So I think that is all. What I've done is to change the background of this button to be this color, and the width of this background to be 100%. It's just for formality's sake. If I let me say if I change the background color to be red and save this, you will see that this guy has changed. If I refresh this, you see that is, it has changed the background color. So let me return it to the normal, because we don't want this thing to be red, you know, and we save it.
Yeah, so this is the color I want. So let me do for this particular div. This is my main div. This is my main div, but to be able to use a property called flex, I need to wrap because I want to center this my main div. This is my main div. This is my main body. This is my like the main div. This particular chunk represent everything you see here. Where is this our design? Represent everything you see within this borderline. Everything within this borderline. So because I want to center everything within this borderline, I need to wrap this with the wrap a div around this to allow me to include that flex property. So here I will have to use, like I said, I want to use flex property to display, to center that particular stuff. So I will say display. If you start learning CSS, you will learn some of these things. So they are not really that complicated. So flex, display flex, yeah. So and I want to justify the whole content within this div that I'm working on. That is, I want to justify, put all this content in center in the middle. So that's what that display justify content center represent. Then I have to add some margin to the top. Let's add the margin of let's say 150 pixel, and I need to add the margin to the bottom of 75 pixels. So if you start reading on CSS, you learn all these things. So they are not really that difficult. So what I've done is to display this element as a flexible, add a flexible property to this block, and then justify every content that will be within this block in the middle. That's what the justify content center represent. Then I've added a margin top. That's a space at the top and a space at the bottom. In this, that's what you see here. You see, you have some space at the top and the space at the bottom. If by the time we move over, you will see the full gist. Then I need to come over to this particular div that holds this is the main div that is holding my items. So and I need to add a style property. You know, like I said in the tutorial, it's not good to add your style property. Now I'm adding my style property within my HTML element. That's not the best way to do it. But what I'm doing is, after, that's the way I like building. After building this, I will now take all these elements to the style sheet. It makes life a lot easier for me. You optimize everything, and so that you don't waste time within a client project. Anything that will allow me to save time and not to waste time within a client, improve my productivity. I do that. So I've added a background color of white. So what do we do? Let's make the width of this to be. So what I want to do is to make the width of this guy to be 45% of the containing of the element containing it. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm making the width, that is the width of this guy, to be 45% of this guy. That is basically what I have done to make the width of this element div to be 45% of this. So I think that, and I want to align my test to the align every test within that stuff to center, test align center. So just to make everything to be in the middle, like this this guy, this is my title will be in the middle now. So I think let's see if we can save this guy and see how it's shaping up. Let's refresh this. Yeah, as you can see, everything is shaping up properly. I say perfectly. This is what I want to achieve. You see, this is my body, this is my, let's see if we can extend this a bit. Exactly, this is basically what we want to achieve. So we can continue with the work. What do I need to do next? So here I need to add the style for this title. To add the style for this guy, I add style, and then the color of the text. The color of the text should be, let's say, 4F 5B66.
So this is the color of the text. And what do I need to do more? I need to do the font family. The font family. Once you start reading up on this, you master all this. It's not really hard. Font family, I want to use sans serif. Sans serif. So yeah, this is my font family. So it makes the text to be a bit beautiful, you know. So let's see what we've achieved so far. Yeah, this is the text I need. Very perfect. So I think I've done with that. What do I need to do now? I need to handle these particular two blocks. So, and I will use flex as again. I will use flex. I just like flex. I don't know why. I like flex because flex makes it possible to just do these things without. So if you start doing your own research and to learn this more, you will know what you read up on flex. So flex, display property flex, and I want to justify this content to the middle center. And what else do I need to add? I need to add a margin bottom of 120 pixels. 120 pixels. So yeah, so I think that is all. So within this block, what do I need to add to this block? I need to give some properties to each of the blocks. So this is the container of the blocks that I've just done now. This div is containing these two blocks. So I've kind of styled how that container should be. Nothing too complicated. So let me style the blocks. First, I want to name all my blocks. I want to give all my blocks a class of block. This will help me when I'm doing the CSS, when I'm doing the JavaScript. Then my style, I need to add the style. And what do I need to do? I want the width of the style to be 45% of the containing folder. Notice that this guy is already 45%. So I want this guy, I want my inner blocks to be, so this guy will naturally be also be for this, will inherit this width with some margin. So but this guy will now be 45% of 45% of this 100%. So that's the way it's not really, so if the width of this, if the width of the total body is, let's say, 100, then the width of this block is 45. Then if I'm taking 45% of this 45, it will be like, if you use your calculator, 45% of 45 should give us yeah, around 20. So I think that is just what I want to achieve. So what else do I need to do? I need to put the height of this guy. Right? I just want them to have some height, and the height should be, let's make the height 200 pixels. And what else should we be doing? Let's put the background color. Let's put a background color, a temporary background color of let's just make it light gray. Nothing too complicated. We don't want anything to. Let's just make it light gray. And then what do I need to do? I need to put a margin left and a margin on the right, because we have two blocks and I don't want the two blocks to be touching each other. So I want to shift the second block by some margins. And that margin, I've decided that margin should be 25. So I think this is what I've done for this block. What do I need to do for the second block? I just need to copy this because I don't want to start the typing. I just paste it here. So, and I have these two blocks. What I want to do is to remove this margin. I think that's the only thing I need to do here. Remove this margin. Yeah. So I have my two blocks. Let's see what and save. Let's see what we've achieved so far. Let's refresh. Yeah, you can see, and I have my two blocks. Perfect. This is what I want to achieve. Yeah, this is exactly what I want to achieve. Yeah, so I think that is good. The whole thing is shaping up properly. Okay, so let's come over to this place. I need to add some style. I need to add some style to this header, to this title header, and let's put some style here. And then I need to put some padding top. I just add some space at the top, and we make it 50 pixels. And what else? Padding bottom. Let's padding bottom. and we want the padding at the bottom to be 50 pixels as well. There is a way to combine the padding and just, but I just like making everything clear so that you will see that I've padded the top and padded the bottom. So this we add some space. We add some space at the top and the bottom. So if we look at our work, so what I've done with that padding addition, if it will add space at the top of this title and at the bottom, let's refresh and see. You see it has added the space. So it has added the space here. Perfect. Yeah, so let's continue. So what I want to do now is to add, I will need to add the column for this and start the button. I think that is what I need to do now. So for this other column, what I might want to do is to, okay, let's add a class and give our class block. Let's just do everything, and yeah, together. So, and we add the style. What do I need to do with the style? I need to add a width of 92%. I need to add a width of 92% and height of 100 pixels. 100 pixels. And what else? Background color. Background color should be light gray. We've used light gray throughout, so let's make it light gray. And what else? Margin left. This is not really needed, but I think let's just use, because my width is not 100%, so I just need to optimize and just put that margin left of 4 pixels. Margin left of 4%, not 4 pixels, 4%. So I think that is all here. The only thing I need to do now is to just copy this and paste here and just edit it so that I don't waste much time. I need to add margin top and margin bottom to this second one. Let's say margin top of 100 pixels, and then margin bottom of let's make this guy 70 pixels and see where we go. Yeah, 70 pixels. I think that is all. If I'm not mistaken, I've saved. So if we come here and refresh, what do we have? Yeah, we have our stuff shaping up properly. So so the next thing I need to do is to tidy up this button. Yeah, without wasting much time. So I move over to this place and style my button. So what do I need to do with the button? The content of the button needs to have some style as well. I put some style here and I say padding bottom. Padding bottom should be, let's make it 10 pixels, and that's 110 pixels. And then padding top, what do we have for padding top? 90 pixels, 90 pixels. So yeah. So what this does is to just add some space around this button. So for the button, what we want to do is to add the style for the button. So let's say, yeah, I think that is all. So let's add the style here. Let's style our button. I want the height of my button to be 50 pixels. So, and I want the width of my button to be 140 pixels. Now there are several conventions. I'm just doing this just to demonstrate this. Once you start mastering, you can use percentage, you can use rem for the unit of measurement. There are so many things you can do, but I'm just doing some basic stuff so that just to show what I need to put, just to show what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I need to put the border radius, and for the border radius, what do I have for this guy? Where's my border radius? I like using, like I say, Visual Studio. You know, in this industry, some people will accuse you that you are not suffering. That is to say, you don't need to suffer. If you have a tool that allows you to do your work easily and properly, use the tool. Forget about what people have to say. So we have 25 pixels here. And then we have border. I don't need any border there, so I make this border none. Maybe I might be a bit fast because font size. I need the font size for the text within the button. So the font size I've chosen is 18 pixels. And then font width. I need the font width of font weight. That is font weight. Here is font weight. I need the font weight of what? What do we need to do for font weight? 700. 700. Then I need the color. The color is for the text that will be on the column. I need 34 3D and 46. 34 3D and 46. Okay. And I have margin right. And what do I need my margin right to be? I need my margin right to be 70 pixels. I need 70 pixels. And I need what's my background color for this particular button. I need the background color to be DDD Driven Development 7CE. So this is what I have. So the only thing I need to do for this guy is I just need to copy this because I don't want to. I just need to copy this guy so that I don't repeat the same thing for all the whole blocks. I just need to copy this. Let's say, okay, copy, paste here, and paste here. So I think that is what I've done for this guy, apart from changing the adding some additional change. Let me see what change I need to. I could easily take some of these properties and put them in the containing folder. So I think that is all. So what I need to do is to change, I need to change this background color to the blue color I've chosen, and this is 00AE DB. And then for this second one, it should be F3 7735. So I think this is the color I want to choose for this. Then the text color should be white. We don't need to make this a complicated video. Let's just make this guy to be white. And this should be white. Yes, I think that is all. Are we missing something? Let's make this value to be. Let's just get these guys to button. So let's save this guy and see what we have achieved. What have we done? So if I refresh this, voila! That is nice stuff. But this guy is not centered properly. I need to. These are our buttons. I lack alignment. I just like alignment. If something is if there is any tiny misalignment, it sends my brain into repose. I like everything to be aligned properly. So if you can see this button is not aligned properly, I need to go in and see what is wrong with it. Okay. There is this margin that is not really supposed to be this margin left. This margin right is not supposed to be in this last. It's not supposed to be in this last button. So let's see. Let's refresh. Voila! Perfect. So this is basically what we've achieved. This is basically what I want to achieve. This is basically it. So what I want to do now, without wasting much time, let's just go straight to see if we can do the JavaScript, and I think that is all. So this is basically it. So as you can see, I've done everything. I've done the CSS and JavaScript and the CSS within the HTML page. I need to move all these styles to this is the CSS page, the CSS file, and this is the JavaScript file.
So, but I have to bring these two files, the CSS file and the JavaScript file, inside the HTML file. So that is what I want to do now. So to add the CSS file, what I need to do is to come over here and add what we call a link. And then I have to add what is the relationship between this file I want to add to this HTML file. It is a style sheet. So I have to add the reference href. Href indicates where the location of the file is. And within this location of the file, I have is within the CSS. You see, so like I said, use tools. Anything that will make your life easier as a software developer, use it. You know, some people will try to tell you that you are not, forget about what people have to say. Just use everything that will make your life easier. So I've added my CSS. So since I've added my CSS, I could start moving the CSS files to the CSS page. Yeah, so I think that is it. So what I need to do is to add my HTML, my JavaScript. I've added the CSS page. I need to add the JavaScript page. And to add the JavaScript page, I need to add something called a style. No, a script. If I'm not mistaken, it's a script, not a style. So within this, I need to add the type. What is the type? It's JavaScript, test JavaScript, yeah. So what do I need to do more? I need to add the source. The source will tell you the location of that file. And then it will be JS, and then this my Java. I've added JavaScript now, but I want to move this guy to the bottom of my, I just want to make sure that, because the way the system reads this file is that it reads this file from top to the bottom. So if you have a JavaScript file, it's always advisable to put it at the bottom so that your system will read all the file, know all these things before coming to read your JavaScript. So that's why it is advisable to put it at the bottom. You know, so that your system will, because the way your system read your file, you read it from the top like this way to this bottom. So if it reads this file and it sees something that it doesn't have knowledge of, it might result to the thing complaining, the system complaining. So that's why we put our JavaScript at the bottom. That's what I've done now. So I think that is all. What do I need to do now is to go over to the JavaScript. I just want to implement the basic structure before coming to see whether we can. So these are my buttons. So what do I want to do with the JavaScript? What I want to do with the JavaScript is that anytime you click any of these buttons is to change the color. Let's bring the, what we want to achieve is if you click on any of these buttons, it will change the color of these guys to the color of the button. That is purely what I want to do, nothing too complicated. So to achieve that interaction, I have to use JavaScript. So what I do is to go to my page and go to my JavaScript file. So what do I need to do with the JavaScript file? I will create a function. A function is just a method. Let's do a function. Let's put the name of the function button click handler. So this is the name of my, so button click handler. So it handles the event, anything that result when you click any of the buttons. So there has to be, it takes in a value. It takes in the color of the value it takes in, that's the parameter. The parameter is the argument. The value it takes, this method takes in the color of the button. So because what I want to do is I want to take the color of the button and replace the color of those blocks with the color of the button. So it takes button color. Let's call this button color. Yeah, or button background color. So I think that is it. So what do I need to do is I need to declare, let's declare and let's do something of this nature. Elements. So I want to get all the whole elements. Let's say, 'Let's 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 say, 'Let
just you will understand all these things when you start doing your research and document. I just want to do document, Windows documents. I want to get elements, by class, by class name. So I want to get elements by class. So I want to get all the elements that have a class name, and the class name is block. Notice that here at this place I've added. I decided to add a class to all the blocks, and they have the same class, which is block, showing that they all belong to the same class as block. Like I said in my theoretical section, if you let me see how long this video has been running. Let's see. Just want to make sure that I'm not wasting too much time in too much. Okay, let's just continue. Okay, this is the, so like I said in my tutorial, several HTML elements can have the same block, that can have the same class name. So you can see all the whole blocks, I've named them, I've given them a class name of block. And I said I want to reference this in my JavaScript. So that's what I've said. What I've said is get me all the whole element that have a class name of block. So it brings all the whole element inside a basket or a container. A basket, you can have oranges inside your basket, so you can put it inside the basket. But in software development, the basket or container, in this case, is an array. I just want to use a layman's terminology. So I'm getting all those elements, putting them inside a container or inside an array or inside a basket. Anyone that makes it easier for you to understand. So what I want to do is I want to loop through this element, and then for each of those elements, change the text color of those elements. So I'm going to use a construct called for each loop. This is a construct I want to use. So what I want to do is to get the length. So this is the if you want to loop through, if you want to go through all the whole, if I have, like, let's say if I have 10 oranges inside the basket, and I want to perform an operation on each of those oranges inside the basket, I will use for each loop, for loop. So what for loop does is to allow me to iterate, to go around all the whole items inside a basket or an array or a container and perform a task on each of those elements or on each of those items. Let's say I have 10 oranges inside the basket. If I want to peel each of those oranges inside the basket, I will use a for each loop. I will say for each element inside a basket, peel each. That's just the kind of the thinking. So I use a for each loop. But don't worry about this. I have a tutorial series I will dedicate to the coding fundamentals. When I come to coding fundamentals, I will talk about this properly and fully. But with this, what I want to do is I want to loop through all the elements in it and perform a task on each of those elements. So to make it a bit, need to do element and then get the length. So this gets the element, and what do I need to do? What I want to do is I want to get let's declare a constant and call it element. There is each of the element, and then I need to do element. So this is just getting me you might not understand it, but just don't bother, we explain this. So what this is trying to do is for each of these elements, get for every element inside this, get one of the elements. So because when you have elements inside the container, each of those elements have their personal number, and their number, the first element has a number of 0, the second element has a number of 1, then the third element has a number of 2. So the first element has a number of 0. That's the way items in your container works. So the first element has a number of 0, not 1. So what this for loop is doing is that it's just assigning
a number to, let's say, a variable, and using that variable to get that element. So you can get the element that has the number 0. This is the first thing the loop does. But I will explain loop further in my coding fundamentals. I don't want to do all those things now. So this particular stuff has picked out the one of the element that has this particular number. And what do I want to do to that element? I want to assign this is the style. I want to assign the background color of that element to the color I'm going to be receiving. So I'm assigning, you see, every element has a property style, and that style has a property called background. So I want to change that background property of the style to what the color I'm getting, the color of the button. So that is what exactly what I've done. So I'm changing the color, the background color of of each of the element to the color of the button. So I think that is all for here. I think that is all. This is basically the simple thing I want to do. So how can I use this in my HTML? I will come to my HTML. Let's just copy this particular area. Come to my HTML, and then I'm come to my button. Each button has so many properties. Anything you do to the button, there is a property that responds to that particular thing you are doing to the button. Like if you click on the button, there is a property called onClick that captures that interaction you are doing to that button. So I'm going to call that property. The property is onClick. So if I click that button, it will call this particular function I've written. It will call this my function that I've copied from JavaScript. And how do I pass? I need to pass this button color. I need to get this button color. How do I get that button color? To get that button color, I will say this. I will do something like this. This particular button, the style of this particular button, and I want to get the background color of this particular button. So you see this particular construct that is called this is making reference to this particular button. So I'm saying for this particular button, get me the style. Then if you get me the style, get me the background color of that particular button. So that's also, if I get that background color, I will now add it. I will now assign it as my input to this function. So it's a simple thing. You understand all this when you start getting deep into. I just want to show you how this works. So I will copy this because I want to apply this to all the whole buttons. I'll just copy this guy and paste here and paste here. So I think that is basically it. Nothing too complicated. So once you click this button, it gets the background color of the button and assign it to your function. Let's save this guy. I think that is all. Let's see. Let's make sure that we've not made any mistake. Because the last thing you want to do is to start debugging out this thing in a live code. I think that is what I don't think we've made any. I think that should be it. That should be it. So let's go to our. So this is our. Let's refresh to get the recent copy. Let's see. Yeah, you can see. You click on this, it changed this color. I click on on the blue, it changes to blue, and click on yellow, it changes to color. So it's a simple. This is just a demonstration of how these things work. They are not really. It's a simple thing that you can master. So as you can see, we have a full-fledged application, a full-fledged front-end application. You click on this button, it changes the color to blue. You click on this guy, it changes the color to yellow. So I think this is basically what I want to achieve. You can do additional styling, but this is basically what I want to, this it's a simple thing I want to achieve. I think that is just to show you how to go about it. So I think that is all for the training. The only thing that I might decide to do is to maybe
to just, you know, move my CSS style to this. Okay, let's say I want to move this background. Let's say I want to move this background. Let's just see if we can move some of the styles, but I don't want the video to be long. But I just want to move some of the, to show you how to move the style. Let's say, but the way I like doing, I like using BEM. BEM is body element modifier. And I use it with another, a preprocessor called SAS. But I just want to show you the way I go about this. So for the body, if I want to style this, I will add a class. So all my styles, I like using body. So I will say front end. This is the way I like doing it. Front end body, something of this nature. Then I will take this. This is the class. I will now come to my CSS and say let's remove the. You see, this CSS has a body. It has something like an element, but I don't want to use that. Let's just use the class, and the class you put a dot. You see, it already knows that class self. So you see, I get something of this nature. So then what are we doing in this case is just to copy all these guys. Just copy all the whole styles. Copy all these styles, and let's just cut everything out. So, and then come to this place and just paste. You know, it makes life, you just paste it, you know. So I've done for body. Let's do for this outer wrapper. We can call this let's give this a class called outer wrapper or outer container, you know. And then what do I need to do? And then I will come here, just copy all these guys. So this is the way I'm moving all my style sheets to a separate file, so that they don't mess, you know. So I think that is, so if we copy this guy, let's come here and put dot outer wrapper. So this is the basic stuff I'm doing just to show you how to move your element. So I've moved, so let's call this second one inner wrapper. You know, let's call this guy, let's add this and call it inner wrapper. Something just to show, and then move all these guys. If I move all these guys, I do inner wrapper. Voila. So I think that is it. So let's move. So as you can see, I'm moving everything and putting them in class. I like using classes, you know. It makes life a lot. Let's move this the title wrapper. Let's call this title wrapper. This wraps our title, you know. And then let's copy all these guys. So this is just the basic. I might not continue, but this is just the way to move your style sheet to the respective files, you know, just to show you how it's done. If I come here and put dot, I will see my title wrapper, and then I just paste my styles here. So yeah, I think that is all. I've moved some of the file. I've moved some of these guys to. Let's see if we can move all let's see if we can move all these our buttons to their separate files. But button is, we use ID for the buttons. The first button has, okay, let's give them separate IDs. Like I said, they shouldn't have the same ID. Button 1, button 2, and button 3. Let's give them separate IDs. They shouldn't have the same ID. That's why I've given them separate IDs. So if I come to this place and say hashtag button 1, I paste this guy here. They are almost the same thing, but there's a way to optimize this stuff. So let's say, okay, this should be button 2, button 3. So you can see I'm moving all the whole. Let me remove this since I don't need this. So this is just the way to move. Once you've done your basic styling, you can move all the whole styles to their respective files. You know, so that your manager doesn't say, "Why do you have some of those styles in there?" You know. So I've moved this guy to. button two we have these guys. So it just so this is basically it. Let's complete the style migration for the buttons. Uh, yeah, so I think that, that is just it. You can always there are some optimizations you can do, you know, but I don't want to start doing that now because like there are like this there are some common properties here. Some properties are common. You can decide to put them on a common HTML snippet and then reuse those snippets. So it's an optimization you do. But once you master, so this is my CSS page now. I've moved some of those stuff, some of those styles to I might decide to even move everything, but for the sake of time, you know, I've moved, you can see I've moved all these, put them in their separate classes. And so that is what we've achieved. So let's see if our stuff is still working properly. Yeah, it's still working properly. You know, we've moved the style, but everything still works properly. So if I click on this, I think there is a problem with some of the styling, but I think that is, we can always see what is wrong with the styling, but I think that is all for the training. If you move all these styles, it should work properly, all things being equal. Trying to see why. Okay, I think this guy I think this guy may not have, I think the problem is that this guy may not be this guy. I think the problem is that this guy may, this button background color, I don't think it's getting it. So maybe I might not, I might need to just take some of this. I might need to do something of this nature just to, let me see, I might need to do something of this nature. I think the problem is I'm referencing this guy, but it's like the guy has not, it's not seeing the, let me try this and see. But this is not the best way to do it, but I just want to try out something. Let me see if I just put something of this nature. If I'm not really too sure, but this is complaining already. No, it's not working. But I think I know the problem. The problem is that I've moved the style. I've moved this style to a different page, but I've moved the style to a different page. I think that's why it's complaining, but it shouldn't be something to worry about. I think I've moved this. It has to do with this button. I've moved this button. I've moved this. But I think what you, if I click, okay, what I will do is you can always you can I might not have the time, but you can get this ID. You can get this ID. You can, for the element, you can get the ID. If you can get this ID, then you can get all this. You can get this style from the the element and then just use it. But you might need to update your JavaScript so that for each of these elements you can get the background color, you can get the ID and the background. From here you can always update this. You can always update this, or you can pass the identifier of, or you can even pass this. You might just pass this button. If you can just pass this button, this particular button, to the function,
and from this button you can now get the ID and all the color. But I think that is all for the training. Yeah, that's all. If I update this, I will update the code and push the code to the source control where you can play around with it. But to summarize, I've shown you the basic CSS file. I've shown you the basic how to create a HTML file, how to create a CSS file, how to create a JavaScript file, how to bring all those files to your how to bring all those files to your HTML file, and how to move some of your styling from this guy to their how to move your styles from your HTML files to the various files. I think that is all for this training. If you have any question, you can contact me. I will try and tidy up the code and then push the code to source control. Yeah, I think that is all for now. Thank you very much.